What's up everyone, it's TheRazoredEdge, and today I'm here to bring you guys a Gears 5 feedback-oriented video. I had actually intended on doing some kind of review videos around Gears 5 at some point, but the Gears community is really feeling passionate about some things going on with Gears 5 at the moment, and I kind of wanted to chime in and give my thoughts. A lot of you guys have been sending me tweets asking me to give thoughts on certain things about Gears 5, and that's what this video is all about. So I'll try and hit as many points about my personal experience of what's going on in Gears 5, as well as kind of community feedback and things I haven't necessarily experienced, but are kind of big key things that the community wants a lot of people to discuss and talk about. So that's what this video is all about. And just before we dive in on everything here, as you guys know, I'm a massive Gears of War fan. I just wanted to preface that everything I'm saying comes from a place of pure love for Gears of War, for this franchise. I've been playing it non-stop since it came out, and I only want to help improve it so we can enjoy Gears 5 to the best of its ability for years from now. So let's dive into everything. Let's talk about Gears 5. So like I said, this video is going to be split into kind of like two parts. It's going to be my personal experience of what's going on in Gears 5, and then, community-based feedback. So my very first point, I wrote down kind of like a bullet point checklist here, so hopefully I'll be able to not tangent and keep a kind of a straight flow for this video. So it says, can't play versus with friends. So what I mean by this is that usually when I want to play Gears 5 versus, it usually wants to be, I want to do it with a group of friends. I want to play with 4 of my other friends. I want to jump in on some King of the Hill, Guardian, Team Deathmatch, whatever. We just want to play, switch our brains off, and enjoy each other's company. But for whatever reason in Gears 5, matchmaking seems to be super strict around 5-man teams. Now, I understand why, because I've been on the receiving end of, being against a 5-stack when I'm a solo player. And that also comes up into another point I want to make. When I'm a solo player, I feel like I'm constantly coming up against stacks, but when I'm searching as a stack, I'm not finding games, so I'm trying to figure out why that's happening. But as far as, me playing with my friends goes, for whatever reason, it takes like up to 25 minutes to find a game if we find one, and then when we do, sometimes the lobby dissolves because someone got impatient and left the other team before the match could even start. So I feel like that comes down to part regional restrictions, part rank restrictions, part crossplay. Like, some people are crossplay disabled. The fact that, like, I'm from Ireland and some of my friends are from the United States, but I end up usually matchmaking with them anyway. So the fact that it doesn't throw us in a game against another team seems a bit strange. I think that whatever kind of matchmaking restrictions are there, that they're a bit too strict. Like, something is stopping us from playing against another team. I think at a certain point, if a matchmaking goes on for, if the game is matchmaking for a certain period of time, it should just choose what's best and put you in the game. I know to a developer, they're probably going, God, it's not that easy. I'm just trying to state how I feel, if you know what I mean. But hopefully something can be done about that, because it seems like I'm not the only one that's going through that, and I would love to be able to play Gears 5 versus with my friends. And that kind of, I actually wrote down the bullet point there of long matchmaking times, and that kind of ties in with that. So next up is going to be re-up rewards. So this is kind of a big one that I get tweeted about all the time, and it's kind of something that I feel, and I actually expressed on Twitter myself. I felt that, here's the thing. So in Gears of War 4, I actually had a series of videos of me, every time I hit a re-up, I would, record it and upload it, because it was kind of, it kind of felt like a moment, like it was an achievement to hit a re-up in that game because it took so long. And then as kind of 50-50 as people felt about gear packs in Gears of War 4, the fact you got multiple of them as rewards was kind of, you felt like you were getting flooded with content as you hit each re-up. So like, it was, 5 or 6 gear packs, it was an emblem, it was a brand new like symbol next to your name, it was re-up wings weapon skins. Like, it was a unique thing to happen. But in Gears 5, it gives you one single desert camo skin from a weapon skin set of 18. So I'm assuming that goes all the way up to re-up 18. and then at 19 and 20 you get something else, which remains to be seen what that's going to be. But in terms of, and I'm not knocking the design of the weapon skin itself, it's just what it is. It's like, because basically what I think of when I see a desert camo, it was like that very first throwaway weapon skin you got in Call of Duty 4. Like there was the woodland weapon skin, and there was the desert camo weapon skin in Call of Duty 4, and it was just kind of like, oh cool, it's a skin I could throw on, but I know there's better stuff down the road. So I would have really liked it to be like, you know, the gold weapon skin of Gears 5. Like everyone always wanted the gold skins in Gears 2 and Gears 3, you know, whatever. That's what I really wanted the re-up rewards to be. So I'm sure the Coalition have said that they are looking into that. I will say that. So hopefully we get something around that. But I just wanted to say that feeling of kind of like, you're like, yeah, I can't wait to get the next thing in this set. I can't wait to hit the next re-up because this weapon skin set is so awesome. That feeling just isn't there. And one of my friends actually mentioned to me that even if it was something like Blue Tiger or Red Tiger from Call of Duty 4, I will make some comparisons to other games in this just because it kind of helps give context. What if like the rewards was like Team Tiger? Like if it was for COG, it was you know, Blue Tiger, and if it was on Swarm, it was Red Tiger. Like, you know, even just like distinct colors like that. Just something like a desert camo just doesn't really hit it for me. But one thing I think that they could have done, and this is me just, I'm sorry guys, I just love, once an idea hits my head, I just can't help it. But you know the way the desert is red in Gears 5, what if the desert camo was red? You know, like it would be cool like that. But I guess that's where the, you know, the team camos comes in, because you can't have a red camo on the COG team. So I think like, you know, a team camo skin would have been really cool, because it's very kind of distinct and, you know, very solid and bright colored, and I think that would have been a good idea. But anyway, that's enough of the ideas anyway. And another thing I just wanted to mention about the tour. So we have the basically the tour of duty all takes place down at the bottom left hand corner of your screen when you're in the main menu. So you obviously click on My Tour, that menu comes up, and then you have your daily tour objectives, which can vary in stars. So basically the star system is how you level up your tour of duty, which, by the way, a lot of people don't know this, but if you look down at the bottom, you'll see it called tour rewards. I don't know why this menu is so hidden, and you'll see that it actually shows you what you're going to unlock next in the tour of duty. So there's actually a whole menu that shows you exactly what you're going to unlock there. So for any of you those who didn't know, that's where that menu is. I think that should be more front and center, but there's kind of just a bit of thoughts I wanted to share on this. It's a bit kind of and the Coalition have addressed this as well, but I just kind of want to make sure I run through everything that I've experienced that I think could do with some improvement. Is that the star system in the game is kind of it seems a little bit inconsistent in terms of like how long it takes you to do a task versus the star rewards. So the examples I have at the moment are actually really good ones. So it says kill 300 creatures, and the most efficient way to do that would probably be to hop into horde mode, but that would take a long time. Getting 300 kills on, you know, AI takes quite a while. But then I have another one that's for 3 stars, but it only requires 15 kills with precision rifles. So that would just require me to start off with like Foz with a Marxa or something, and then just get 15 kills, and that's it. And then I get the 3 stars. And those two don't seem to equate in time. Like the kill 300 creatures one seems like it would be worth 5 stars or 6. You know what I mean? But I can understand why they don't want ones to be that big, so I guess that just needs to be balanced out. I could understand if it was kill 50 creatures and it gave 3 stars. It's just about kind of they need to balance out the worth of time versus reward in terms of those. And then with the tour itself, I think the opportunity to have older characters in there. One thing about Gears 5 was is that it's had the potential biggest launch for a Gears of War game ever, because it's the first time the game is launching on Steam. You know, with the PC community cross-play, just the scope of the game with all the modes, the amount of hype with the story and the campaign, the fact it connects back to the older trilogy even more so now than it ever has, and all the groundwork has been laid there with Gears of War 4, and that the Coalition have had the experience of Gears of War 4 and Gears of War Ultimate Edition behind them, that the audience that could come back for this game is has been potentially huge, and a lot of old school players have come back that haven't touched Gears of War since Gears of War 3. So I think a little bit of a miss here was the fact that they didn't have stuff like, you know, the Carmines and like characters like Dominic Santiago and, you know, just Baird, like classic Baird, like stuff like that people kind of who didn't play Gears of War 4 could connect to and want to grind for. I understand why the Coalition aren't releasing all the characters at once, because they want to space them out. They want to, you know, put them in the operations and in the tour of duty as rewards, and you obviously need time to develop the characters to put in escape and horde mode with their own unique abilities and stuff like that. But excuse me, in doing that, I feel that they could have used, you know, like characters like I said, like Clayton and the Carmines and, you know, Dom and that, to put in the first tour of duty, so when old school fans came back, they're like, yo, I love Dom. Dom was my favorite character in the Gears trilogy, or Benjamin, he was my favorite of, you know, the original Carmines and all that, and then they would want to grind the first tour of duty, and that would keep them engaged with the game in the beginning, and then they could introduce even more stuff. They could introduce skins for Benjamin and Anthony and Clayton and Dom and that kind of thing. You know, does that make sense? It's not that they still can do that. It's just that I think that with the fact that this is, as I said, like the biggest potential game for Gears in history, honestly, I think that with the return of, you know, old school players, I think that's something that they should have considered in that regard. I personally still enjoy the rewards that are there. I think some people feel hit or miss about the fact that some campaign characters are in there. But like I said, they are variants and they are very achievable over the course of the operations. So I think that's kind of something that I'm kind of 50-50 on. But I think in terms of, you know, just taking returning players into account, and, you know, even just players who stuck by Gears of War the whole time, we would have enjoyed to unlocking, you know, Dom and Clayton and all that kind of thing. But anyway, let's move on to the next thing, shall we? So the next thing I have written here is inexperienced teammates versus stacks. So this is probably something that I hit on earlier, but I find that a lot of the time if I'm playing solo, this is particularly a solo issue, is that I find that I'm coming up against teams who are like 5-man, 4-man, 3-man, and my teammates seem to be like they've never played a Gears game before, or they've just come straight out of boot camp and went straight into ranked. There doesn't seem, I could be wrong, but there doesn't seem to be anything preventing players who have never played multiplayer from joining ranked. I think this was a thing in Gears 4. It's been such a long time that I'm finding it hard to recall, but I think there was a thing in Gears of War 4 where you had to hit a certain level in like quick play or co-op versus or whatever before you could actually jump into ranked, and I think that restriction needs to return. I like the way boot camp is there as a foundation for people to learn, but it takes some people a little bit longer to kind of, you know, get that awareness, and people who don't have that kind of coordination for thumbsticks or using controller, that kind of thing, don't have the time. And then when they jump into ranked and they get stomped on by a 5-man stacks, that encourages people to quit, and that's kind of leading into my next point of, you know, quitters and quit penalties, which don't seem to be active in the game at the moment. But I think that's due to the game had a bit of server instability when it launched, and they kind of disabled that so people wouldn't get like you know, falsely suspended, so they kind of just put that system on hold until the game leveled out. So I think quitting restrictions should be put back up again, you know, some penalties in there, so people just don't like, oh, well, this game isn't going well, I'm just gonna leave and just ruin everybody else's experience that's on my team. I can't stand that. So definitely the restrictions need to be put in there, and I think that kind of a more kind of streamlined system for new players like needs to be kind of, you know, throw the new players in with the new players, maybe give them a casual playlist like Gears of War 3 or something, but again, you know, you can have people smurfing like they did in Gears of War 3 just to hit clips on new players, which I absolutely detested. I don't know why people did that. But, you know, it is what it is. But not many people did it. At least they could hop in there. Maybe just, you know, maybe keep them restricted to co-op versus until they hit a certain level kind of thing, and then see how it goes. Maybe that would make more sense. But Yeah, that's kind of 2 points. Basically, inexperienced teammates and quitters and quit penalties are all kind of wrapped up under one blanket there. So the next thing here, I said lack of customization in custom lobbies. So one thing that I really advocated for with Gears of War 4, I was hoping that the Coalition would give us, you know, customization. I was about to say customizability. Is that even a word? More customization options in custom lobbies. And what I mean by that is the ability to create custom modes. One of my most favorite things ever about Halo 3 was that you could customize everything. Spawn timers, spawning weapons, you know, the amount of placements of weapons, you know, game modes, stipulations of game modes, you know, like you could create like running speed, low gravity, like stuff like that. They don't have to go that crazy, but at least let us like spawn with snipers and or maces or heavy weapons, or just quirky stuff. Like let us make OSOC in private lobbies and stuff like that. Like we should be able, I think that's something we should be able to do. Like especially since we have the custom lobby browser there, you could have your, like some people do that. They create free-for-all lobbies, which is another thing we'll touch on in a moment. They have free-for-all lobbies where they just kind of host a King of the Hill and they have friendly fire on. Everyone can just wall bounce against each other and practice their skills. They have sniper lobbies where it's just sniper-only spawns, but those would be better if you could just spawn with snipers instead of having to wait for ammo to respawn after you spawn with a Lancer. You know, that kind of thing. Just more in-depth customization for private matches, just like because you can create this whole kind of replayability just in private matches like that. It's insane once you give people the tools to do like in-depth customization like that, like the playtime, it just creates endless fun. Honestly, like it sounds cheesy, but it just creates like this kind of like, yo, let's create this crazy game mode and let's just stay in there for hours and you don't even notice the time go by. That's how it was in like the Halo 3 days. I remember that. And I think that'd be amazing in Gears, especially ever since special events were introduced. People have always wanted to see that, and people were always doing that back in the day on Gears of War 1 anyway. How many canals, sniper lobbies were there back in the day? Like 3v3s, 2v2s, 1v1s. Like it was insane. The culture around custom lobbies is absolutely there, and I think I really think the Coalition should absolutely knuckle down and get that in the game. I know people really want to see that, and I do too. So my next bullet point in my list here of my personal experience of what's going on in Gears 5 says new modes ? And what I mean by that is I had actually intended on making a video of kind of like a wish list of stuff that I wanted to see in Gears 5 before launch, but I never did. But one of the things that was on the list was game mode variety, and what I meant by that is that there should be different ways to play, because in Gears of War 4 the only way to play that, apart from 2v2 Nashers that was introduced later on, was 5v5. There was only 5v5 game modes, be it Team Deathmatch, Guardian, King of the Hill, whatever it was, everything was 5v5. So what I was hoping was, especially after the whole Battle Royale craze, which gives you the option to search solos, duos, squads, trios. Like there's so many different kind of varieties in team sizes and kind of ways to play, that I was hoping that Gears 5 would launch with free-for-all and with Wingman. And it seems to be implied that those will make it into the game at some point, or tease a possibility of possibly being there. But I was really hoping that, like, with free-for-all, you know, you don't have to worry about your teammates not necessarily being experienced, because you're entirely relying on yourself and you're taking on the lobby. And that's fine. You don't need to get aggravated about the matchmaking being unfair, or, you know, that kind of thing, because you're just focused on the people in front of you, and you're not, like, worried about reviving anyone or someone being inexperienced or trying to compensate for someone who's not pulling their weight on the team, that kind of thing. And then when you just have your one friend around, you're just like, yo, you want to play Gears multiplayer? And they're just like, nah, I don't want to sweat with like 3 people that are, you know, could potentially not be that good. But instead you could have the option of Wingman, where you can just play with your buddy and just, you know, have that co-op versus adventure, which it was notorious for since Gears of War 2. And I really do hope to see those modes come in at some point, which I really do think they will come in, because they were so demanded during Gears of War 4 that the Coalition definitely heard that, and maybe it's just that they need some extra time to work on those, but I really would love to see those in Gears 5. So hopefully we do get to see that, fingers crossed. Just mainly for that reason that you have that option of solo, duos, squads, that kind of thing. You know, you can choose to play on your own with 1 friend, 5 friends, 4 friends. There's no limits to how you can play the game. Does that make sense? And then a kind of a specific thing to me here in my personal experience was, so my favorite game mode to play in Gears of War, besides like execution, because execution back in the day in Gears 1 was just my bread and butter. It was the main Gears of War game mode. It's what we all love to play. It had that elimination knockout feel and all that kind of thing. But besides that, my main favorite game mode to play in Gears of War history was Guardian in Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. The version that's in Gears of War 4 and Gears 5 isn't quite the version of Guardian that I really love. Now, it is fun, no doubt, because it still has those main mechanics of, you know, executing the leader, which stops the respawn, so it has those tense moments. But the system that's in place, it has dodgeball respawn. So once the leader decides to camp and spawn, that's consistently where the team will spawn no matter what. Now, what was nice about the version in Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 is that if the leader chose to sit in a spawn, he was risking the spawns flipping, because it would, and eventually the spawns would flip and the other team would spawn there, and then the leader would leave himself wide open to an attack. And it was just, that was what encouraged the leader to pick it like a spot away from the spawn that wasn't like deep in the back that's hard to push in because everyone's respawning on him. And also, if the spawns flip, his team would actually spawn away from him, so he'd be leaving himself vulnerable. So it's better. You also had that kind of hectic rush. You're like, oh no, I died. I gotta respawn and run back to the leader. It was like a big tense moment to get back to your leader. So I really hope that they consider giving us that version of Guardian back. I know that they did imply that they were looking into it in Gears of War 4, but it doesn't look like that system made it into Gears 5. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we'll get the Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 version of Guardian sometime soon, because that's what I truly love. And then finally, for my personal experience here, I have missing cosmetics, and it's also because of a lot of tweets from you guys that you've been telling me and asking me questions about this as well. So I personally, a viewer, actually a very nice viewer of mine, gave me a code for, you guys may have seen the Ice Block weapon skin set. And a little bit of confusion about how to obtain that. You can get that with the 5 terabyte hard drive from Seagate. It's called the Ice Block weapon skin set, and you can get all 18 skins with that hard drive. It says just 3 on the box for the 5 terabyte, but you actually get all 18. And you also get the code with the Gears 5 Xbox One X. It is a code exclusive to that console, and the skins are kind of like tied to a download of Gears 5. But anyway, when I redeemed this code, I didn't get my weapon skins, and I was so curious as to why. I've tried using support.gearsofwar.com. I've reached out to Xbox support. I've tried reinstalling the game on PC. I've hooked up my Xbox One X again and re-downloaded the game on there, and there doesn't seem to be any luck. I'm not actually playing the game on Steam. I'm playing it on Windows 10, so it's not that issue that people are having where stuff isn't redeeming because they're on Steam. By the way, if you are playing the game on Steam and you bought the Ultimate Edition and don't have your Halo Spartans, you're probably going to have to reach out to a friend that has it on Xbox or on the Windows 10 store and ask them to log into your account, and it will actually redeem it that way. But for me, my version of that doesn't seem to be working. So if you have missing Ultimate Edition content, let me know in the comments, and or any kind of redeemed content, let me know, and kind of explain your scenario, and hopefully we can kind of help each other figure it out. Maybe there might be a workaround we can figure out, or if any of you are going through the same thing I am, let me know. I would really like to have that weapon skin set. Anyways, on to community feedback. So this is stuff that everyone's kind of chit-chatting about on Twitter, and all around the Gears community, we'll say. So the first bullet point I have down here is bullet magnetism / aim assist. So people keep using the term aim assist, and I feel like a lot of that has been popularized by Fortnite. It seems like console players don't really know what aim assist is. Basically, the reason shooters exist on console is because of aim assist. Basically, if there was no aim assist at all, people wouldn't be able to hit an accurate shot. So there has to be like a tiny bit of it there in order for a shot to hit center mass of a character. It's how it operates, because the accuracy with a controller, some people can obviously, some people are nuts and can do that, but the average player can't play a shooter without aim assist. And it basically, the way to explain aim assist is, in any shooter, if you have a character stand AFK, an enemy character stand AFK in front of you, and you move your camera from side to side, that feeling of it slowing down as your crosshair moves across the enemy character, that's aim assist. It's not when bullets like hoover to a character model or something like that. That's something entirely different. And what people are talking about with this bullet magnetism thing, that's actually been in the game since Gears of War 2, and it's been in every game since Gears 2, apart from Gears Ultimate Edition, because that's built off of Gears 1, which is built off of center screen shooting as its main mechanic. So that's not kind of in its it's not in its repertoire of its shooting system, because all the shots are coming from center screen rather than from the barrel. But it seems like the version of whatever's going on in Gears 5 seems to be a bit more extreme than what's going on in Gears 2, Gears 3, Gears 4, all that, and Gears Judgment. It just seems like it needs to be toned down just a tad. And it should be, I say relatively simple fix, but nothing's ever simple in game development, so if any devs are watching, you know what I mean, but I don't mean to say that it's easy to fix, you know what I mean? So, but it's basically just toning that down should solve it, and it should be more on par with, the older Gears games. But it's funny, it seems like more people are noticing or breaking down Gears of War now that Gears 5 has come out. It's quite fascinating to watch, actually. But anyway, next thing is I get tweeted a lot is high ping in versus. So I've been on the receiving end of this a little bit. As I said, like, I haven't been playing much versus because I haven't been able to play with all of my friends, and that's how I tend to enjoy playing versus. I just join with all my friends, we enjoy each other's company, and we just kind of switch off our brains and play. But I haven't been able to do that much, but I obviously have, recorded for some videos, and I've hopped in here and there to do some, like, challenges and do my tour of duty and my operations and all that kind of thing. And it seems when I search solo that I either will find an EU or I'll find something in, like, the Western United States. Like, I'll be, like, 150, 180 ping, and it's just right up there, and that seems to be a really common issue. It seems like there isn't very many EU servers, or there's some kind of issue that's just like not putting EU players onto EU servers. It's like kind of everyone around the United Kingdom and Ireland and France and Spain should all be playing with each other. That's how it's always been, like, since since Gears 1. Like, it was always the lobby you picked with the good connection, and when you matchmade in Gears 2 and Gears 3, you'd always hear someone from France or Poland or the UK, or I'd hear someone from Ireland as well, that kind of thing. And you'd hear like the odd American in there because they'd be playing with their friends, or like vice versa. If I was playing with my American friends, they would hear me and I'd be unusual to them, you know what I mean? So it seems like, but on the other hand, it's kind of like it's the opposite from the QoS matchmaking update from Gears of War 4, which completely shut out the EU from matchmaking entirely. For the most part, like, I couldn't find games whatsoever after that update came out. So it's nice that we're able to jump over there when there's games available and not many games available over here. So they need to find that kind of like that nice balance of having a lot of EU servers available for us to play on, but when things die down over here, let us play on the US servers, and vice versa. Like, whatever the best game available is should be what's in there. And that also kind of ties in with the long matchmaking times, and I don't envy the coalition for the work and the thought process that goes into it, because there's the regional stipulations, there's the rank stipulations, there's like the crossplay, taking into account there's team sizes. You know, there's a lot to take into account there. So I just hope that they kind of loosen up the restrictions is kind of where I'm getting at with that. But obviously solving that high ping issue for people who feel like they're being placed on United States servers. So the next thing here is Gears 5 store pricing, which is a very, very highly discussed topic on Twitter, social media, all that kind of thing. People have taken issue with the prices of iron in the shop and how much items are in the Gears 5 store itself. It's quite a complicated issue to think about, but kind of instead of me just kind of diving into an endless thought process, I think that the system we had in Gears of War 4 was near perfect, and I know people took issue with Gears of War 4 gear packs, but the system leading up to gear packs was actually amazing because you could earn the currency, you could use it and spend it on content, and you could obtain it for free, right? So I think that system in itself should be kind of brought back in Gears 5. That would essentially turn iron into credits again, but I think the only issue that people had with the system in Gears of War 4 was the fact that after their efforts and the time spent playing is that those efforts were met with RNG. So they could spend like 200,000 credits trying to get a Locust, and then just luck wasn't on their side that day and they wouldn't get the Locust after spending 200,000 credits. So if you just replace the gear pack RNG system with the direct buy, direct purchase system that Gears 5 has, you know, if you're able to earn a bunch of iron, I don't know what way they would do it. If you tied it into the Tour of Duty, leveling, post-game kind of XP, that kind of way, or after completing hives in Escape, or after completing matches of Horde, after, you know, hitting a certain rank, or, you know, just there's loads of ways they could dish out iron. It gives people something to play for when there necessarily isn't new content coming out, but they're also ready for new content coming out, and they can use that as a way to kind of validate their time, and they can use it to, you know, purchase the skins they want. And then people who don't have the time can directly purchase the skins they want for a price. Like if I'm someone who'd be playing Gears 5 every day, but just say I had to, you know, go to a funeral or, you know, something unfortunate that has gotten in the way, and then when I came back I was like, oh, I missed out, but you know what, I can just pay this $10, get this skin, and that's it. Like, I know I missed my time, but I didn't miss out on the character, and that money kind of, you know, makes up for the time that you miss. And I think people will be a lot happier with that. Of course, with pricing, I think iron is kind of like this middleman that I don't know if it's I think they either need to have iron and make it earnable, or just cut out the iron and just make everything direct purchase. Does that make any sense? So like, but have the prices, you know, be microtransactions, if that makes sense. And I think something else that they really need to tap into is one thing I really liked was the bundle system that they have in the game is the Bathing Ape Kate especially. You get, what is it? You get Kate, you get 18 weapon skins, you get a banner, you get a blood spray, and you get a weapon mark, all for, what is it, $19.99 or something like that. That's amazing value. Like, I think they should do more things like that, like the way they have some weapon skins split up into, like, some of the same set split up into separate packs. Kind of, it makes people feel like they're spending money, kind of, like they're being spread thin a bit. And I feel like if they just bundle together the entire chrome steel weapon set for, like, you know, for $20, or the whole neon weapon skin set for $20, people would have no problem doing that. It's just like that people, like, you know, they buy a part of it one week, and then for some reason they're busy another week, and then they missed it, and then they're like, oh no, I spent that 20 and I missed half of the set or something like that. You know what I mean? So I think it's just about making people feel like that they can complete stuff and that they can play the game and it be kind of worth the time they put in. Hopefully I didn't kind of miss too much in there, but let me know your guys' thoughts on all that in the comments. And then a few more points here. is people tweeted me about, and kind of the community feedback thing is that I put out a tweet saying like, what are some of your concerns, and these are kind of like the most asked about stuff that were in that thread and the things that I've seen mostly on social media. And so people said lack of maps. Now in my opinion, since I obviously like I said, it's going to be from my point of view, I haven't got to play a lot of versus, mainly due to those me not being able to play with my friends and that, but with the amount of multiplayer I've played at the moment, I think these are some of the best maps the Coalition has ever made. So I'm still really enjoying them, like especially Asylum and Exhibit. I actually really like Icebound as well. I know people tend to sit up in that tower up there. Maybe they could put some kind of counter. I don't know, does the drop shot spawn on Icebound? I can't recall at the moment, but if it doesn't, it should. Just to counter the people that are sitting up top in those towers. But other than that, I really like the interactive environments, the way that the ice shatters on the bottom, especially in custom lobbies. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, like I posted like a 1v1 with my friend where we just use maces and smash the ground. Like, there's like stuff like that is what makes Gears 5 so good, and I have to say I really enjoy. I know there's not a lot of maps, but what's there is such a huge improvement over Gears 4 that I really like. But I think what a good idea is, a lot of people have been suggesting that the Coalition give us the Gears 4 maps that were put in for private play just into the main rotation. Why not? Like, I understand what they were thinking when they said, well, we don't want to put those in because we feel that maybe people would be kind of like, well, we've been playing those the whole time in Gears of War 4, and then just to kind of resume doing that in Gears 5 would feel a bit kind of same. But since like they kind of, it's already been like that with Team Deathmatch and King of the Hill and Guardian and all that, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't put those maps in the rotation, just to kind of, you know, split out the rotation and give us some variety in maps. Plus, they actually do, I have played on them, they do look visually better. Like, them porting them into Gears 5 actually gave them a huge graphical improvement, so it's actually kind of cool to see that. So I really like the version of what is the name of that map with the cooker on it? Forge Blitz. They put Forge Blitz into Gears 5. I called it a cooker. Yeah, I really like that version of Forge. So I hope they do put those into the main rotation. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't. They play well for escalation, and I know a lot of people enjoy playing that. So maybe you know, having those in there would be a good idea, since the Coalition know that works well with that game mode. And then second to last thing here is flashbangs. So with flashbangs, I kind of joke every time I get flash, I'm like, my eyes. It's not actually that bad, but one thing I don't like about flashbangs, it isn't necessarily the number of them that get thrown, especially in King of the Hill. It's the fact that you can't defend yourself during that whole experience. It's kind of like Gears of War 4 smoke grenades all over again. For whatever reason, they stun you, and I don't think they should. I think the purpose of a flashbang should be to flash you, but you still should be able to let out a shot. You should be able to use your game sense to maybe, or you know, your game audio and your game sense to maybe suss out when someone's pushing you, and perhaps maybe counter someone that head downs you and body them while you're flashed, and that makes for a huge play. But that's impossible when you're stunned. So hopefully they kind of change their decision to do that. And if they seem to really do want a stun grenade in there, maybe just make a stun grenade. Like, you know, have a third grenade. You know, have your smokes for making sneaky pushes and flanks. You know, have your flashbang for making a push onto the hill. And then have your stun grenades for, like, you know, someone unsuspecting and they flinch or whatever, and you can make your push that way. But the thing about a stun grenade is that you would be able to see, so that's kind of the stipulation of that one. The combination of being stunned on top of, you know, the smoke and the flash is just, it's a bit too much. So I think taking away the stuns would be a good idea, and see how that goes, and then probably go from there if you think it needs any more changes. Some people have suggested limiting per team. But I think taking more options away from people probably isn't the best move. So just kind of changing the stipulation of the grenade would be the better move, in my opinion. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. And then the last community feedback point I have written down here is visibility of cosmetics, banners, and blood sprays. So banners are this flag that displays behind your character while you're matchmaking. And if you get MVP, your flag or your banner displays to everybody in the lobby. I have the Irish flag selected, and it would probably take something really, really cool for me to change that, because I really like having the Irish flag in the background. But the only time you get to see it is like during an MVP screen or while you're matchmaking. No one else gets to really see it. So maybe have your banners displayed in the spawns or something like that, like in the lobby, like the entire time. Like when you're in the spawn screen, when it shows all 5 of your teammates, have them behind you, but have them stay there the whole time. And I know that spawns rotate, but that's how you could label, like, you know, oh, that's the swarm spawn and that's the cog spawn. Like that's just an idea. I know I have a bad habit of just going deep into ideas, but let me know what you guys think of that. Like, does that sound like a good idea, or what other ways do you think that you could display banners? And then another thing is blood sprays. Now, I haven't seen a blood spray yet. I don't know what they look like, but a couple of suggestions I've seen from the community, and something that I've thought of as well. The one that I thought of was, probably someone else has thought of this as well, so I'm not going to take full credit, obviously. And then, you know, when you get killed in Gears 5, there's the big red omen that appears. Maybe replace that with the blood spray. That's an option. Or like, it could either be when you're executed, it appears, and it's not your blood spray, it's your opponent's blood spray, so they could use it to taunt you. Or it could be something funny, you know, if it was a GG, or if it was a get wrecked, or, you know, that kind of thing. Or maybe, I don't know if it would be better to display your own blood spray on your own screen, or display your blood spray on your opponent's screen, you know what I mean? So there's something to think about. Maybe have it so, like, in games like CS:GO or Team Fortress, you can put sprays on the wall of whatever image. Maybe make it so you can spray your blood spray on the wall. Like, why not? Or maybe have it as an emote slot. Yeah, like that. Like, you could have it as an emote slot that you could spray it wherever. That would make a lot of sense to me. That way you get a lot of value out of when you purchase one, and you get to use it whenever. It's not just restricted to kills or executions. But yeah, and then so that's banners and blood sprays, and that's everything that I have written down. I don't think I've missed anything, but if there's any other points you guys would like me to bring up in any future videos, I'm all about doing these kind of feedback videos. Like I said, this comes from the most loving place possible. Like, I just want the best for Gears 5 moving forward. I want this to be the best Gears game yet. I want everyone to enjoy it. I want everyone to feel like they're getting value for their gameplay time, for their money, and just enjoying Gears 5 overall. And I must say, like, even with these few issues, I've really been enjoying the game. I've been playing a lot of Horde mode and Escape. It's been completely grabbing my attention. So even though I can't find versus games with my friends, I've been really enjoying Horde mode and Escape. That whole system there has been really, really fun. I enjoy the PvE in Gears a whole lot, and I know that the Coalition will deliver the goods when it comes to rewards and updates coming, and, you know, the new operations and new maps on the way. And I'm sure there's lots in store that they have, and I'm sure your guys' feedback is definitely being heard. I've seen Octus and Dana on Twitter, like, definitely acknowledging what you guys are saying, and I'm sure that they're definitely keen on you know, listening and delivering when it comes to that kind of feedback. And I think another thing, just before I wrap up, is one thing I want to mention. What's your guys' opinions on character restrictions in Horde mode? I know the way they want the system to be with Horde mode is that they want, you know, a character to have an identity. Like, they want Marcus Phoenix to be the Lancer character because the Lancer is iconic to the franchise, and they want, you know, Emil to be the knife guy because he's got a big knife and that kind of thing. You know what I mean? But I think in that regard, maybe they're kind of stopping the churn out of characters because they need to record all those voice lines. Maybe if they just took away the character restrictions and just made them classes that you could put them on whatever skins, that they could actually release skins faster and people would feel like there's more content flowing out faster. But as I said, I'm just throwing out suggestions. and my feedback and my thoughts on what's going on, mixed in a lot of your guys' thoughts from social media, Twitter. Mine is at TheRazoredEdge, by the way, if you guys want to tweet me with any of your like ideas or concerns or feedback or whatever you have going on there. It's also a good thing to maybe follow at Coalition Gears, at Gears of War, at OctusTC, and at Dana Systems if you guys want to keep up to date with all that's going on in Gears of War and Gears 5. But that has been it for my feedback video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like and subscribe to my channel for all future Gears 5 related content. Share the video around if you really enjoyed it. Follow me on Twitter at TheRazoredEdge. Be sure to join my Discord link via the description down below. If you guys want to help support the channel, hit the join button to find out more details. And I will see you guys next time. Hey guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to drop a like, leave a comment down below letting me know what you thought, subscribe to my channel if you're brand new for more videos, share the video around if you really enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time.